Hello everyone, I'm Anatomy-Holic. Today I'm here to talk to you about how to memorize all the terminal branches of the facial nerve in just 30 seconds. Part 2. Oh no! Surely someone will say that terminal branches of the facial nerve are as thin of a slab. Pia! Is it necessary to divide it into two parts? It seems a bit too simplified if I only talk about the terminal branches. It doesn't match your level of understanding. So I still want to present the complete facial nerve to everyone. Based on the different needs of various departments, I divided the facial nerve into two parts. The first part provides a brief introduction to the facial nerve, along with some fascinating insights. The second part focuses on anatomy, including the pathways, branches, and innervation of the terminal branches. Everyone can watch according to their own need. Let me introduce a brief profile of the facial nerve. The facial nerve, also known as the seventh cranial nerve, originates from the second pharyngeal arch and arises from the pons. This nerve bundle contains motor, sensory, and autonomic fibers, making it mixed nerve. There are 5 nuclei associated with the facial nerve, indicated by the arrows in the region. These were already introduced in the previous episode, so I won't elaborate on them here. After emerging from the pons, the facial nerve travels behind the 6th cranial nerve and in front of the 8th cranial nerve. It then enters the facial canal through the internal auditory meatus. The last 2 rows on the table indicated the numerous branches of the facial nerve, both intracranial and extracranial. It falls under the anatomical aspect, and in this episode, we will focus our attention on the fourth point of the extracranial branches: temporal branch, zygomatic branch, buccal branch, marginal mandibular branch, and cervical branch. The nerve fibers arising from the motor nucleus pass through the internal auditory meatus into the petrous part of the temporal bone, make a turn at the geniculate ganglion, and then exit through the stylomastoid foramen. The thin pink line in the center represents the main trunk of the facial nerve, which extends from the brainstem to the segment where it enters the cranial tunnel and exits the tunnel. After exiting the skull, the branch of the facial nerve begins at the point indicated by the yellow arrow, which is the side where the facial nerve has just emerged from the stylomastoid foramen. When we press the temporal bone back in position, after the facial nerve exits the stylomastoid foramen, the main trunk represented by the pink color still curves slightly forward. Just before the curve, we can see the dark red colored nerve branching posteriorly. This branch is known as the A posterior auricular nerve. The letter A represents the posterior auricular nerve, which further branches into A1, the auricular branch, and A2, the occipital branch of the posterior auricular nerve. The auricular branch of the posterior auricular nerve is a mixed nerve. It contains general sensory afferent fibers and brachial motor afferent fibers. The general sensory afferent fibers can transmit partial skin sensation from the external ear, as evident from their pathway. They relay this information back to the brainstem. This can be clearly observed from the purple area on the left side and the green area on the right side. A2 represents the occipital branch, which is clearly seen traveling posteriorly on the diagram. The key point is that it runs above the nuchal line. The muscle located on the side of the nuchal line is, of course, the occipitalis muscle, and therefore this nerve can innervate the occipitalis muscle. The B branch can be referred to by two different names, the digastric branch of the facial nerve or the branch to the posterior digastric bedding. Different textbooks may label it differently, but the meaning is the same. Personally, I prefer using the term branch to posterior digastric bedding because the innervation of the anterior and posterior bedies of the digastric muscle is different. The anterior bedi is innervated by the mandibular division of the trigeminal nerve via the mylohyoid nerve. The muscle closely associated with the course of the posterior digastric bedi is the stylohyoid muscle. While their proximal regions may differ, they are almost contiguous as they extend toward the distal end. Hence, it is easy to associate the presence of a branch of the facial nerve that extends towards the stylohyoid muscle. Now, let's go through it together one more time, shall we? Close your eyes for a moment. The first branch, A, travels towards the back of the head, but before reaching the back of the head, it passes through the ear. Therefore, A is called the posterior auricular nerve. It has two branches. One branch goes to the ear for sensation, known as the auricular branch, and the other branch goes to the back of the head. What muscle is located at the back of the head? That's right, it is the occipitalis muscle. Hence, this branch is called the occipital branch. Next, we have branches B and C, both of which travel downward towards the neck. In this area, there are two muscles that are closely associated with each other, the posterior bedi of the digastric muscle and the stylohyoid muscle. Therefore, the B and C branches go to these two muscles. As the facial nerve progresses forward, it branches into the five branches labeled D, E, F, G, H in the upper left corner. Before dividing into these five branches, the facial nerve initially split into two divisions, the blue-colored superior division and the pink-colored inferior division. The superior division further divides into branches D and E, while the inferior division divides into branches F, G, and H. The branch that originates from the superior division and is positioned relatively higher is the temporal branch of the facial nerve. This branch courses forward and upward, passing over the zygomatic arch and entering the temporal region. It can be further divided into two portions, the anterior ramus and the posterior ramus. The anterior ramus can innervate the 1. Frontalis, 2. Corrugator supercilii, 3. procerus, and 4. Orbicularis oculi muscles. By examining this diagram, you can directly observe that the location of these muscles is in the upper 1/3 of the face. The posterior ramus can innervate the 1. anterior and 2. superior auricular muscles. Additionally, it can be observed from the diagram that the superior auricular muscle is also innervated by the posterior auricular nerve. Therefore, this muscle can be innervated by both nerves. The E branch also travels forward, slightly upward. It passes through the parotid gland and reaches the lateral region of the orbit. The zygomatic branches innervate the 1. Procerus, 2. Orbicularis oculi, 3. Levator labii superioris, and 4. Levator labii superioris oblique muscles. The buccal branch travels forward, passing through the parotid gland to reach the upper lip region. The buccal branch has a total of 9 branches. I categorize them into 3 areas, related to the nose, related to the mouth, and related to the zygomatic region. Here are the branches related to the nose. 1. Levator labii superioris, 2. Levator labii superioris oblique, 3. Nasalis, 4. Depressor septi nasi. Here are the branches related to the mouth. 5. Levator angrioris, 6. Bassinator, 7. Risorius, 8. Depressor angrioris. Here are the branches related to the zygomatic area. 9. Zygomaticus major, 10. Zygomaticus minor. Okay, I have organized them for everyone here. The pathway of the marginal-mandibular branch follows a downward and forward course within the submandibular region, reaching the area of the chin. Along its pathway, it gives off branches to supply nearby muscles. In the next image, let's take a closer look at which muscles are involved. The marginal mandibular branch gives off 4 branches, which include 1. Orbicularis oris, 2. Depressor angrioris, 3. Depressor labii inferioris, 4. mentalis. Finally, we have cervical branch. The cervical branch primarily innervates the proximal muscle. Beautiful diagram here. And that's it for today's video. We used the Complete Anatomy app by Elsevier for this episode. Feel free to download it and give it a try. If you are a fan of Henry Gray, the 2022 edition of Complete Anatomy includes numerous illustrations from Gray's Anatomy textbook. In this episode, we referenced the publication by Dominic Dulac et al. On neuroanatomy, cranial nerve 7 facial. Though it may not have a lot of text, it covers the essential points. Interested viewers can download it and explore further. By the way, the 2 summary tables shown in the video will be available for download on our fan page. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you enjoy our videos. You are also welcome to join the Anatomy Show Bar Facebook fan group.